today's world of high-speed connection, text messaging, and social networking, we often find ourselves searching for information. There are millions of blogs on the internet. News, sports, politics, and tech. But I bring it all together for you and present it in a relentlessly unconventional fashion. My name is Zenny Abraham, and this is the Blog Report. It's time now for news. Okay, you're probably wondering, why the hell is Zenny doing a review of the Prometheus movie now when it came out 2 weeks ago? I'll tell you why. Because I can't get the damn movie out of my head. It's very well done in a way I'm about to explain. You would say, what do you mean? It wasn't well done. It was panned overseas when it came out a week before its American debut. Right. But let me explain to you why Prometheus does a certain thing very well, and why, because it does that certain thing very well, it stays with not just me, but a number of people who viewed it. First of all, Prometheus, for those of you who may not know about the movie, is a Ridley Scott film based on the Alien movie series started in 1979. But, and this is where I think Prometheus, in its making, took a left turn. It was billed as not a prequel, but something that referenced the, quote, material, unquote, from the Alien series, specifically the design, the idea of these aliens that come from you after they have inhabited your body in unpleasant ways, and they come out as chest bursters, or perhaps they have to be surgically removed, and well, so on. But it takes off from there. Now, the common element that binds all of this together is really the company under the control of Sir Peter Weyland, expertly played by Guy Pearce of Memento. But what makes this film work, and I don't want to get too far off the path there, what makes this $130 million epic work so well, which I might has already grossed $101 million, is that it has an established sense of place within it and it never loses that. Now, what do I mean? I mean this. From the time Prometheus approaches the planet LV-223 in the Zeta 2 Reticuli system, I might add star system, which is the same star system as LV-426, we understand where we are in the ship with respect to the alien berms, and later the alien ships, and the entire landscape. When a storm comes, we know where it's coming from, and that it's headed toward the ship, past the ship, and then toward the alien berms and ships themselves. When the alien ship takes off and leaves, we know where the Prometheus is with respect to it. We never lose our point of view or our sense of place in that movie, and that is absolutely 1000% remarkable. Most films don't do that for you. You don't understand how every aspect of its physical place ties together. But in Prometheus, you do. You feel it. And it's that gigantic bowl of physical reference within that holds the story that's poured into it and allows us to, it gives us a frame of reference to think about the story and think about why certain scenes occur. Like, for example, the alien engineer talking with David the android, and David the android is suddenly getting his head torn off. Or before that, David the android, again played by Michael Fassbender, talking with Logan Marshall Green, plays Holloway, and having this kind of racism play out between them, because Holloway doesn't like androids, and David clearly doesn't like the way humans treat androids, and obviously has no truck with the idea of running some kind of experiment using Holloway, who then gets infected, unbeknownst to Holloway, of course. The bottom line is that the story was poured into this great physical universe. Now, the problem was the story. It wasn't enough great character interplay. The David Holloway example was good, but it wasn't great. The one that annoyed me because it could have been so much better was between Idris Elba, who plays the captain of the ship, and Charlize Theron, who plays the company representative slash scientist slash school marm in a sense. There's one scene in The Bridge where Idris Elba and Charlize Theron are kind of playfully toying with each other verbally, and Idris basically propositions her, and she says, "In my cabin in 10 minutes." We don't see the rest of that. Although it's okay to have, I mean, maybe they don't want to have an interracial pairing there, have us see them develop this sort of, get it on love story that becomes a theme in the movie. That would have been cool to see her actually have a human side and perhaps how that impacts how she approaches the mission. That was a missing story element. That was one really, 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 really badly missing story element. And in general, there wasn't enough time to flesh out the relationships between the characters, and there wasn't an obvious arc of change. From what a character does at one point to another, unless, of course, they got infected with something. But the bottom line is they weren't characters you really cared about because you really didn't have the vessel within which to get to know them, and that is where a good story comes in. But the bottom line is, because of the physical design, the genius of the special effects, and the way Prometheus was produced, it took a weak storyline and made it stay with you. Imagine if it were a really great story. Wow, that would have been something.